Welcome to another episode of Roll or Die. I made a little joke with this week's guest a little while back. She'd been asking to come on the podcast, and I said to her if she won a gold medal at Nogi Worlds, she would come on. And dang it, the girl went and did it. So today's guest is the 2025 Masters 1 Medium Heavy Purple Belt Worlds Nogi Worlds gold medalist, the 2025 Masters Medium Heavy Purple Belt Masters 1 bronze medalist at Masters Worlds, and the 2024 Blue Belt Masters 1 Heavy silver medalist from last year, as well as a stack of other competition medals. She's our teammate. We're really looking forward to chatting today with Ellen Thompson. Thanks for joining us, Ellen.
Hello, thanks for having me.
We don't usually go through all of those titles just saying we're the world champ. So
Just one title now.
Welcome to the podcast, Legend. Awesome to have you on. It's cool to have teammates come on because we kind of know them a little bit more. But can you just sort of, for everybody else who obviously doesn't know you, you're Masters 1 now, right? How did you start? When did you get into jiu-jitsu and how did that look for you?
So I started in mid-2019. Chantel Thompson came to a grappling camp during the NAIDOC week at Richmond Football Club when I was working there. And she's like, "He's got a good base. You should try this. It'll help your footy." And then I did one jiu-jitsu class and footy was out the window and I was jiu-jitsu only.
No relation, even though you've got the same surname.
Never met
relation,
her. Until that day, just meet the right people at the right time and jumped in. And then as soon as I was into jiu-jitsu, I was into jiu-jitsu. There was nothing else. It just took over, which was pretty cool.
And you started straight away at Dominance, yeah? So you didn't sort of test out the waters in any other gyms or anything like that?
No. So I was lifting in the gym upstairs at the old Dominance on Victoria Street with actually Adele and Michael Manu. So that was cool. And then jumped straight into Dominance because there was one downstairs and then never left. Yeah. Best place first.
So you are a competitor. You're also a sponsored athlete, so give them a shout out at some stage a bit later on or whenever. But you start jiu-jitsu, you obviously start to enjoy it. When do you first consider doing a competition, Ellen?
I was 3 months into jiu-jitsu, didn't even have my first strike. And Haley...
Why so long? What was the wait?
Why you compete day one? And I went to Haley ran a seminar one time on just like, "Oh, this is the competition." She's like, "Why don't you compete?" And I remember telling my coach at the time, and he's like, "I'd wait a little bit." And I was like, "Nah, we're going in." Lost everything, didn't know what was happening, was the best. And then another month later, I did another competition, and then everyone pulled out, and they're like, "You can jump into the blue belts if you want." And I still didn't have my first stripe, and I was like, dubbed by everyone. It was the best. It just kept going until, it just was a cool way to test yourself and be competitive.
So, I mean, it sounds like because you have won, a lot, especially recently, but it sounds like you didn't necessarily win at the beginning, but you've still got such a really positive attitude about it. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? How did you kind of deal with that? How did you not kind of let it get you down?
I lost my first 9 matches in a row when I first started, very Marcus Pacheco of me. And then I'd win one, lose one, win one, lose one. And I took a long time I think my first gold medal wasn't until 3 years into competing with South Australia, and I actually got 4 on the one day. But it took a long time to build into that. And it was more just, I feel like I could always do it. And there were days where I'd be crying and crying because I was like, my self-worth, I'm not this unless I get this. And I think until I learned that it didn't matter, my self-worth wasn't connected to my competing, that I started winning. It was a bit more in relation to my jiu-jitsu skills itself. So then we've built up to that and now added performance elements and whatnot. And winning's really only been a recent thing.
Can you talk to us a little bit more about how you made that turnaround, how you got to that change in mindset from where you were at the beginning to where you are now?
Yeah, I did a lot of work with psychologists and somatic practitioners. And for those that don't know what somatic practitioners are, they're more people that do breath work and getting back into the body and out of the mind. I have a very strong tendency, Link will tell me, to overthink things and catastrophize a little bit. So they're more about taking you out of your headspace and being okay, what is your body actually doing? What are you feeling? What are you doing? coming back down, especially competing with the nervous system response it does. It teaches you how to work with that. And that was when I was able to be like, oh, I'm just thinking about this, to try and bring it back down, to be like, oh, what's my body doing? What is my breath doing? What do I need to do in this moment physically, rather than getting in my head? I still get in my head for sure, but a lot better now.
Can we go back a little bit, Alan? So you're talking about, you lose 9 matches, then you win one, lose one, win one, lose one. You go through those sorts of things. So at that moment, like, during those earlier years for you, why are you competing? Like, what was the why around that? Especially for you, because, a lot of us, at some stage, we do put this self-worth onto, like, yeah, I'm a competitor. I won that. People love me. So tell us about those early sort of days in your mindset with why you were competing back then.
I was competing back then as like a skills thing. So it was a cool way to test my skills, to see where I was at. And it really, I don't think I realized it at the time, but realize now, but I was using it as a way to show the holes in my game, because competing to me is the only way you can really compare yourself, because it's generally, if you get a chance, it's your age, your weight, your gender, your rank. So it's the only time you can really get, and I mean, even then it's still not the most accurate, but it's the best way to sort of get a gauge of where I was at. So, and also I was like a fair bit bigger when I first started, one of the bigger girls in the training room. So it was hard to see where I was like, am I winning because of jiu-jitsu, or am I winning because of size? So then when I'd go to competition and they would be my size, I was actually able to get a technical skill. So it didn't sort of worry me, the losses, some did, but it didn't sort of worry me, the losses, as much at the time, because it was about learning. Oh, there's this hole, I can't get out of this. Oh, I'm not doing anything on the bottom. Oh, I'm not doing. So to me, it was like I didn't want to ever stop, because I still wanted that learning. As I got like more skills, and then I started tying a little bit of my self-worth to it. And then to try and separate that, I did work with a lot of people. And like the coaches we have, like Murray and Link, were really good about being like, they're separate things. It is one day. It is not things, like really having to like separate. So I cry a lot, as we all know. But I used to like really get really upset over it and be like, I just can't do this thing. It's just not good enough. It's not good enough. And then it was that narrative that needed to be cleared, because it wasn't about being good enough. It was let's do some jiu-jitsu.
And you mentioned that you were bigger. Are you comfortable to share like your weight loss, like how far you come and how you did it?
Yeah, so I was, when I first started, 85 kilos, which is not like too big, but I'm not tall. So it was like, I was a little bit of a nugget. And then I got down just before COVID to like 76. And then during COVID, bit of stress, not working, eating rubbish, got back up. I think I was 89 at my heaviest with jiu-jitsu. Not my heaviest ever, but in jiu-jitsu I was 89. And coming back after COVID, like I didn't want to do no-gi ever. I was like really embarrassed to be like, I'm back being big again and whatnot. And then I think it was only when I accepted that I am this size, I need to learn jiu-jitsu at this size, that the weight did come off, because I wasn't like stressing and attached to it. And then it was just Link made a comment, and it wasn't anything bad. He just said, your frame doesn't match these girls. There was no like shame. I could stay as big as I wanted. That's fine. But he's like, your frame doesn't match. And then slowly over time, I just sort of swapped out some food, like tried to add in more vegetables because lower calories and more volume, and then made sure I hit my protein, and then trained. Sleep is the biggest one, I reckon. Like stress management is the biggest for weight loss. And when I like managed my stress, I was able to slowly get rid of the inflammation and lose the weight, and then keep training. And now I think I'm sitting at like 72 at the moment.
I think one of the cool things that you sort of spoke about then, Alan, is like it wasn't a rush to do it.
No.
Right? It happened over time,
Yeah.
which has been like the really cool, impressive part.
Yeah, it's been 3 years since like I did it. It was never meant to be a quick fix. It was we're going to do it slowly.
And so are you looking as well at going down it further? Is that on the cards?
Yeah, we want to go down one more weight division, just to middleweight, which is minus 69 in the gi. Just also help get matches, and like I'm naturally stronger, so I will sit in that division. We think, well, like my frame, even at No-Gi World, sitting at medium heavy, we're all the same weight, and I still look like the smallest one there. Not bad, just is. So it'd be cool to like have someone where you sort of like match their frame a bit more. So yeah, but again, slowly, steady. We're not in a rush, and we're going to do it the like proper way rather than losing energy for training.
And then how have you found, so you've now competed in a few different weight divisions, you always in the open division. How have you found your ability from when you kind of, not when you first started, obviously that's changed massively, but your ability to move and all those sorts of things? How was like for you losing that sort of weight? Do you find it's massively beneficial for your frame, as you're kind of saying?
Yes, yes. It's been so beneficial. I never used to be able to invert because my tummy was where I carried most of my weight, and I just physically couldn't come over the top of my tummy. So that's already changed. And I used to be like a very inside pressure pass. I still am, but outside passing, I'm like able to like that's what got me the no-gi world's title was my outside passing because I've got the speed to move around. And just the energy to keep going. Whereas before, like there might have been like a little bit of a, I'm just gonna like get in late on top, or if I'm on the bottom, it's so much harder to get on top. Whereas now I'm like, nah, I'm out. Like we're gonna spin out or go around behind or do something, and yeah, so it's changed my jiu-jitsu thing. And I mean, I was learning new things when I first lost the weight and trying to do mount pressure. I was like, this is hard. Like I used to sit and like melt, and now I was like, people are throwing me off, and I got in a habit of I call it air jail, where I get like a guillotine in the boys, they just stand up. I've never had this problem. Like it was way behind, and now I'm like hanging out in the air and trying to work my way back down. So it's been pretty fun. But yes, whole new style.
And apart from jiu-jitsu, what about other stuff? What are you doing as well, like strength and conditioning wise, or any other kinds of training like wrestling or judo?
Yes. So currently yellow belt in judo. We're working towards our orange belt at the moment. I find it just gives me confidence on my feet. I'm not necessarily using the throws in competition anymore, but just lets me feel confident standing. Same with wrestling. Link before No-Gi Worlds was like, you need to wrestle. It just is the nature of No-Gi Worlds. You need to learn how to grip fight. You need to learn how to cut angles just to be confident standing. And then strength and conditioning. I do conditioning once a fortnight, which is one that just an S&C coach just got me to do. So it's like on the bike, on the rower, 20 minutes, minute on minute, like minute. I don't think you need to do too much conditioning outside of jiu-jitsu. Everyone's got a lot of opinions, but jiu-jitsu is the conditioning. So it's like just one, it's more, that to me is more of a mental battle. Just if I can get through 20 minutes of that, I can get through a 5-minute round. Yes. And then lifting for longevity in the sport, minimum twice a week. And it's like, I'm not lifting PBs every day of the week. I'm just lifting and ones I enjoy just so I can stay consistent and keep on the mats.
It's almost like you're living the life of an athlete,
Yeah.
mate.
My whole life revolves around my training, yes.
It's really cool. Like I've obviously known you for a wee bit now, Alan, and seen your journey as an athlete just continue to grow and grow and grow. It's inspiring for all of us as teammates. And then I know that you also do a lot of stuff with women in the jiu-jitsu space, which is really cool. So obviously you're inspiring all of those people. We will 100% touch on that. But before we do, can we just go back into the competition scene for a little bit? Can you give us like a couple of little stories about matches that you've had, ones that you win or ones that you've lost or ones that really stick out in your mind for you?
Yeah.
Because I love those stories. To me, like we always kind of get some of these stories from some of the guests that come on, and some of the stories that people tell are really, really cool.
Yeah. One of my favorite, I have a couple from my first year at Masters Worlds, Blue Belt. So my first one was when I jumped guard in the semi-final. Link had no idea I could play guard. Full panic in the background. Doesn't know what's happening. It's my favorite video of all time because he's like, I don't know what Ellen's doing. I went on to win the match, but it's just one of my favorite reactions from the coach being like, I give up. What's the buck? Like, it was the best. But also the last match.
If I was more organised, Ellen, I would have done a screen share with the Flow Grappling, and we could actually all watch it where Link just holds his head for I think 30 seconds or something when you first did it. Yeah, I've seen it.
Before that match, Link had hair, and then after it, like it was all gone.
That was the point where he lost his hair, yeah. And the final of that one against Barbara, who just to give her a shout out, she just double golded at Europeans, which is pretty sick at purple. She had some pretty horrific things said to her before she went to compete, and after she won, so she beat me by a sub in the final, and she just broke down. And like my only instinct in that moment was to like, is she okay? like just to like hug her and like be like, you won. Like it's all about like, sure, in that moment I won silver. I was pretty stoked with that, but it's also like, let's celebrate her because she just won. Like she just did such a big thing and it was awesome. And so I like really wanted to uplift her in that moment. That's just like one of the special ones. They're just like being able to be there and celebrate someone else as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've told that story on here and cried about it. So yeah, I know that one really well.
yeah, that was just, yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Um,
same.
Yep.
one of my other favorite matches was in Queensland. I was 17 points down, and caught a Kimura from under side control, which is the like most ridiculous, like whatever story ever. And I just love it because it's like one of those don't give up because you don't know when the tides can turn. So I'm like very much like in any match, like doesn't matter what the score is, you keep going till the end, like because you don't know, like they might leave their arm out, they might leave something behind that turns it. So it's like it's still just one of the reminders in myself. You keep going until the end of the match. Like there is no, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Speaking of that, Ellen, can you share a little bit? You've talked about it already somewhat, but a little bit more about like maybe your actual day competition mindset prep. Like what do you sort of go through in your mind? Do you have like a ritual that you like to follow each comp, and how do you actually prepare on match day?
I try to keep it pretty consistent across them all, just so that I like know that day is the day I'm competing. I don't like giving myself superstitions because if something diverts you out of your superstition, I feel like it can make or break. So it's like I have like rough, broad ideas. I always have gummy bears just because they're the same here and in America, and that's like something I always try to do or some sort of lolly. But before the match, an hour before, I do like a certain sprint routine just to get my heart rate as high as possible, and then come back down, do it again. I just find sometimes you don't have someone to warm up with. So it's the one that I can do by myself. And I know how to do it and I know how to like what I need to feel from it so that in my match I'm ready to go. Just before I get on, I make sure to look at my opponent. They're real, I'm real, it's real. Like so I don't pull myself out of the moment. Like we need to focus. And because I find with me, I have to bring my heart rate back up. Like a lot of people are like, oh go, let's go, listen to music, and like you sort of got to calm them down a little bit. I find my nervous system almost shuts down. So I've got to like bring myself up to the point. So that's when I'll like do some jumps, like I'll slap myself. Andrew Huberman's got excellent podcasts on like breathing techniques, but if you do a really long inhale and short exhales, opposite of calming yourself down, it'll bring my heart rate up. And I find that really helps me get, okay, I'm ready to go because I need to like be thing. But so as long as I do those sorts of things, I'm pretty flexible in the rest of it. I try on a day not to think too much about it, especially like we usually compete with the team. So I try and make sure it's like I'm there for whoever's on the match now, hour before mine, then's my time. So it's like that way I'm not too focused on what I've got to do. And then it's one group at a time. Yeah.
And then
And
what about the night before, mate? Like, do you have like a routine the night before? Like, do you study matches during the week? Like, how does, especially for the bigger competitions, how does that look?
I don't study matches. Link does that all for me. I find I get too in my own head if I do it myself. I just want to know the start of the match, like how generally he'll look at it and be like, you need to pull, you need to wrestle, you need to wait for them to pull, whatever the option is. He just will tell me the start of the match and we'll go from there. I don't think too much about it. I remember, like, as I'm sure people have discussed in podcasts, there's 4 options at the start of the match. They pull, you take down, they take down. So it's like if we can narrow those down to what needs to happen, and then I think sometimes about that, but otherwise I try not to think too much about it. I generally like to I stop social time the day before from like 6 p.m. before and just have the night to myself if I can, just so that I can calm down, pack my bag, know everything's in there, get ready to go, and yeah.
And what about like on the day, maybe between matches, or especially between, say, your division and the absolute division? Do you do anything different to help prepare you for that? And have you learnt anything from that?
Yeah, so I'm between matches, I feel okay. I always stay like in the bullpen and ready, and like my goal is to like make sure my entire focus on one match at a time. I'm not thinking about the next one until then. It is one match at a time, one group at a time. When that's done, I'll then start focusing on the next match and then what needs to happen there. I struggle a little bit with the absolute sometimes, especially like when there's no lock-in time for it, especially at IBJJF events, to try and like do my full routine again. So I do struggle. Pen packs was okay, but Nogi Worlds I did lose the absolute first round just because I couldn't bring my headspace back into it. So that's still a lesson I'm learning. If there's like a set time, so at nationals and those sorts of things, I feel a bit better, so I can mentally prepare the time backwards. But yeah, it's still working out what to do to get your body ready. We'll keep going.
What I've generally seen you do between the end of your division and absolute is just go up and get a medal, usually the gold one,
Yeah.
and then walk around and take photos. I think that's usually like really good open weight track, right?
Yeah. There's been a lot of photos between things, yes. That always is a good like
So
icebreaker. Yeah.
yeah,
What's next for you, Ellen? What's coming up in 2026?
I'm going over for Pans in Orlando. That's at the end of March. So that'll be the first like big major of the year. For those that don't know, part of the Grand Slam. Just a good opportunity for me. There's always women my weight and my age, so I get to go over there. And then I will jump into Adult Worlds, or just Worlds as people call it, as the youngins, at the end of May. And then Masters Worlds will be my big one come August. We'll go over for that one, and yeah, we'll go from there. And then I'll try and do as many as I can in Australia. It's been a bit hard, as you would know, Kim, women competing in Australia. So I didn't have a single no-gi match my weight last year in Australia. So it'd be cool if we get more women jumping in here. So, and I'm more than happy to jump into any small one to help anyone that also wants the reps and whatnot.
Why do you think that is? Sorry, Brent, just to
no, you're good.
talk to the mic, but why do you think there's not more women competing? Because there is a lot of women doing jiu-jitsu now. Yeah, like
Yeah.
well, certainly since I started. Obviously, we're always going to be in the minority with the guys.
Yeah.
But why do you think there's not more women on the competition scene in Australia?
I think there's a lot of comps now, so it gets a little bit oversaturated with, whereas people used to book, even like when I started to now, people used to book in like VIX and book in nationals. And now it's like there's a comp every second weekend. And I think that makes it hard to get the like numbers to each one. I think money is another one. It's gotten really expensive to compete, especially if you do the 4 divisions at any of the big ones in Australia. You're looking at $350 to do it. And almost as a female, you almost have to do all 4 just to get some matches. I think a lot of women also doubt themselves. They shouldn't, but I think they do just naturally doubt themselves. So it's hard to like feel like they're ready. I don't think there is a ready. I think personally you should just, it's worth competing at least once, twice a year, just to test yourself in your jiu-jitsu and see things. But I think a lot of the biggest thing is people like, I'm not ready. I don't have enough time to prep. I don't have enough time for this. Whereas I think just you don't need all the prep. I don't prep for the smaller ones, like any of the round robins. I think they're awesome to just jump in for experience. And yeah, and I noticed up the belts, as you would notice, Kim, too, way less. Like from white belt, I used to have someone every division. Now I'm jumping between 3 different divisions just to get whoever I can get.
Yeah. And on that too, I notice sometimes women, or guys as well perhaps, but females especially will sometimes say, oh no, I'll wait till I'm a blue belt, or I'll wait, another 6 months or whatever. But honestly, anyone listening out there, especially white belts, don't wait.
No.
White belt's the best time to compete.
Yeah.
If you wait till blue belt, you've got that pressure on your shoulders, usually your own pressure, internal. But yeah, I recommend everybody should compete at least once as a white belt just to get it out of your system. Even if you don't feel like a competitor, just get it done.
And nothing makes you better faster than competing. And it just will like highlight what you're good at, highlight what you need to work on, and just to see how your body reacts in that thing. It's also the best thing to test your self-defense skills as well. When your body is that stressed, what are you going to do? So I think, everyone should just jump into one. It's always fun, and everyone's so lovely, especially the women. Like I've never walked away from a competition without a new friend. So I know that's a little bit different for the men, but the women, some people don't even talk to you before you match, and that's fine. But I have never met anyone that doesn't want to talk to you after. Like you always will make a friend or two, or someone you can train with, or cross train, or anything after. Like it's awesome.
Yeah, I think the men's is quite similar from my perspective. Like of most people that I've competed against, especially in Australia, like I'm on Instagram with them or friends with them or touch base with, which is really, really cool. I think one of the things, Ellen, is you kind of touched on it earlier. It's like we put our self-worth and we link that in with a result. And it's important to not do that, I think. Like it's cool you go back to the gym if you win, you go back to the gym and everyone's like, hey, that's really cool, like congratulations. And if you lose, people are like, oh, never mind. But like literally a week later, no one gives a shit. Like, we're all back in the gym. Like, I've forgotten about the results from last week. Like, I'm no longer that person that won the gold or that lost that match or whatever. Like, now we're just back in the gym and we move on. I think that's really important for people considering competing to actually get their heads around. Like, if you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. It really doesn't matter. Like, let's just get back to the gym. Be back with your team, back with your teammates, back with your coach, and just continue to improve.
Yeah, brutal. So to that, I'd say it sounds harsh, but even on the day, sorry to all the people out there, but no one even cares on the day how you go, apart from yourself, right? Like, even your coach will sort of be like, whatever. But it's actually all usually in your own head, all of those thoughts about like people caring about your result. So yeah, just get out there and do it.
Yeah, echo all that. Everyone cares because you care, but no one actually cares. No one cares what happened in Brisbane on the weekend. No one really cares what happened in Worlds last year. Like, it's just well done, good job, or oh cool, we'll fix that. That's it. Like, there's no, it's just something we need to like learn to. It's a hard lesson. I think it's a ongoing lesson as well, but it's results don't indicate anything. It's the same. One training day doesn't change your thing. If you have a bad training day, you're not bad at jiu-jitsu. Or if you have a really good training day, you're not like the best at jiu-jitsu. It just is. Yeah.
I think people like, maybe my words are wrong. People care. Like, people are excited
They do,
for
because
you.
you care. Yeah.
People are disappointed for you, and
Yeah.
all those sorts of things. All of those are things, but your self-worth isn't wrapped up in it. Like, you go out and you win worlds. Like, we're so happy. We're pumped for you.
Yeah.
But it doesn't change our love for you.
Yeah.
If you lose, it doesn't change our love for you. And I think that is where sometimes we might make mistakes, or not want to compete. Like, if I lose this, maybe mum's not going to talk to me again, or your coach is like not going to give you, hey, can we roll? No, you lost on the weekend, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to get the winner.
Yeah.
So I think, like, as teammates and that sort of thing, we do care that you win. Like, it is really cool, and we love you for that, but it doesn't change what we feel for you. Like, if you lose, we still love you. You're still such an important part of the team. So I probably should choose my words a little bit better, but yeah, it's interesting.
No, that summarizes it. They were good words.
Yeah. And so do you have sort of goals each comp that you go into? Do you sort of set yourself a list of things? You mentioned that, you'll go to some of the local comps without necessarily preparing a lot. But do you have in your mind certain thoughts of like, okay, for this division, I'm going to try, ABC or something like that? Or how does that work?
Depends on the comp. Most of the time I'm trying to do my comp game. So to keep it broad, like more specific rather than like do broad things. Sometimes in the smaller ones I'll like try things and do different things, but you're still going to compete. You're not just going to, like, it's not another training day. You're still going to compete. And Link touched on this the other day in class. Being a good competitor doesn't mean you're necessarily good at all of jiu-jitsu. So I still keep competition focused to practice my comp game and keep that ready. So when I do jump into the majors, I've got that. But it also gives me if I do move like laterally out of my game, that gives me something else I can work on to broaden my jiu-jitsu and become like more of a generalist across the board, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does for sure. Alan, can we talk about like the women's collective? So can you give us a rundown on that? I think we've covered heaps of your cool competition stuff. We've got really cool ideas in regards to prepping before and warming up and that sort of thing. But can we touch on the stuff that you're doing in and around the jiu-jitsu scene too? Because I think that's really important as well.
Yeah, I almost personally find it more important than my competing. Like, I love competing and it is one of my favorite things to do, and I hope more people do it. But my major like goal with all of jiu-jitsu is to get more women involved and more women around safe places and more like-minded women together. Just the community of it is amazing in general, and how much the mats change when more women are on the mats, even in co-ed classes and that sort of thing. Just the technical level gets higher, the like general like making sure everyone's okay gets higher, and it's just such a good. Sorry, I just want more people and like I'll do it. So the collective started. Jess Newen in Sydney started the Sydney one. And it was just designed to have open mats that are completely affiliation free. So it's not about any one gym or any one person. It's about all women. So it's more just about bringing all women together. We've all got a common denominator of jiu-jitsu in. So it's like we've already got something in common that we can use and talk about and do. So it's just designed to bring them all together and get to know people. So you might meet someone and go, oh, hey, Kim, do you want to jump into this competition with me? Or oh, hey, Kim, I noticed our last role we had, you're really good at deep half. How do I learn this? Can I come and train at your gym? And then you go to that gym and your skill set's expanded, and then you bring that back to your own gym and you can expand more. And so it just was more, and also giving an emotionally safe space for women to connect. There's a lot of people that come to the open mats, not mine because they're not about me, that come to the open mats culturally can't roll with men. So it gives them a place where they can roll with more women rather than the same 3 women they may only get to roll with. Or there's been a few people that have shared some awful stories of situations they've been in where they have a physical reaction when they're near men or on top of men or around men. So just having that safe space where they can come in, learn some skills, learn some self-defense, meet new women that can also be there. And a lot of them have similar stories so that they can just, connect and grow the community. That's just, my main goal with hopefully more jiu-jitsu and reaching out. And so,
I could probably answer this one, but I generally ask this from all the female guests that we have on. As a woman on the mat, what sort of things can you suggest to other women and to guys in terms of how to roll with women, how to, interact?
I had a great roll today with Big Nick. He is 105 kilos, so he was 30 kilos heavier than me. And he was like, that was one of the most fun rolls ever. We just went straight back to technique. He's a blue belt, and so it was just more about having fun and chasing technique. So if he couldn't do it without strength, he didn't do it. So as a man rolling with a female, make it a technical roll. Only do technique. Don't use any strength behind it, and then all of a sudden it changes because you might not be able to get out of things that you thought you could have when there's a frame in the road, as opposed to beasting your way out of it. And I think in general, try and keep it fun and playful helps. And also you learn more because you're not as rigid in the I need to do this and this and that. It's like, oh, cool, might zig instead of zagging and that sort of thing. With women, you can pick your training partners. You are allowed. You don't have to roll with every single person on the mat. Sometimes going up with just say you're a new female and there's a new guy that's 40 kilos heavier than you, might not be the role for you. You can welcome to ask another female. Hopefully gyms have at least one coloured belt female or someone on the mat they can ask to roll or who's safe or that sort of thing. Don't be afraid. Each gym has different policies. I'm very grateful for ours. You can ask the coloured belt males to roll. Most of them hopefully say yes, because they will be happy to have a technical role and show you what to do to help and keep you safe. But yes, you are allowed to pick your training partners. You are allowed to say no as well.
I think that was awesome and beautifully said, and I agree. I think one of your attributes that you're very, very good at, Alan, is communication, and in regards to what you want from a role as well. So can you talk about that a little bit? Because I find for me, you and I roll a fair bit, and sometimes it's let's go as hard as we can, and then sometimes it's let's go real playful, and sometimes it's I want to work on this specifically. And to be honest, most of that comes from you communicating what it is that you want from a role. So do you want to touch on that?
Yeah, I do train a fair bit, so it would depend on how often you're training each week as well, how many roles you can sort of dictate. So sometimes I might be really tired, or end of the week, I'm emotional. If I get too tired, I cry, which we know. And I might just want a playful role. So I would turn to Brent and say, hey, or especially if someone comes and asks me to roll, I say, I just want to have a playful role where we flow or whatnot. The other person, we have to remember, has every right to say, actually, I want a comp role. I'm going to go with such and such. And not taking that rejection as a me. It's I've asked what I wanted. Sometimes people want their things, and everyone still needs to get something out of training. And if I want to, so I try to have sort of an intention behind it. Or if I do want a competitive role, I will go, hey, Brent, I really want to work on my comp game. Cool. Can we do that? Are you right? Do you have the energy to do that? Sometimes people say no. And again, that's fine. People don't have to roll at the pace that you would like, but still just having that open dialogue throughout it. And I find you're a good example, Brent. I can say if the role is not halfway through the role, if it's the too high intensity or too low intensity, we can still talk about that. And I think that's okay to do. Other people might have different opinions of everyone needs to be 100% and but I personally don't learn that way. If every role is a comp role deathmatch, I'm not learning. I'm just learning to survive or learning to like not lose rather than like trying to play things or do things. But I think just having open communication with your partner, and if it does become something where you're not getting something out of, you are allowed to like communicate that. So still talking like, oh, I want to play, but I want to win, or I want to play and like want this to be the scenario we sort of stick with. Or we've had roles with you, Kim, as well. We're like, oh, we're not playing close guard. We're just going to like play everything. but just having that, I've been very big. Murray was very big on it at the start because him and Dave used to have death matches. And it used to be, oh, we can play, but resistance until I win, not resistance until we fight, like resistance until I get the technique and that sort of thing. But yeah, just being big on what you need.
Yeah, agree 100%. And I don't know, like we say this, but I still feel like a lot of women have a barrier to that communication to, oh, I don't want to upset them, particularly lower ranked women, you know, white belts and blue belt women will sometimes think, oh no, I can't say no to a role, or I don't want to tell them that they're going too hard or whatever, because who am I to tell them, like I'm just a white belt or whatever. But you're right, like it's everybody has the same rights as everybody else really on the mats to get good benefit out of their training. So I mean, I don't know what the answer is of how to kind of get it through to women to say it's okay to speak up if you're not feeling comfortable with something. So yeah, I don't know if you have any further advice to offer on that, but yes, I find it quite frustrating for me as a higher ranked woman. Often women will come to me and tell me things, and then I say, but did you tell them that? And they'll say no. And I'm like, well, it's not really up to me to go and tell them now or whatever. Like, yeah, it's really hard, but in the moment, it's really important for women to speak up.
Yeah.
I think sometimes guys might not even be aware that there's an issue.
I think it's the awareness is the big thing. It's not, most of the time, I'd say almost like 90% of the time, they're not being malicious. It's not anything bad. They just don't know. And if you don't communicate, they don't know and they can't get better too. So that conversation, it is awkward and it is a bit weird, but it makes everyone better. They'll grow because they'll learn to be able to do different paces and that sort of thing. And you'll learn because you'll get a little bit of confidence to say. It was much harder as a white belt. And when you are new, it is. And I've like learned it over the years and it wasn't always this way, but it starts early. If you can start early, it'll just make a big difference.
Yeah, we're pretty lucky at Dominers that there are a lot of females. And I've said this before, that I really feel like a club with a large number of females on the mat will generally be more technical, because you have to be technical to roll with females of any size, of any rank. Whereas some of the clubs where there's only maybe a couple of women, the guys just go with each other all the time, so they never have to dial it back to use the technique sort of thing. So yeah, it is hard for women in those clubs with only a few females maybe as well to speak up and say, you know, I don't want to go that hard or whatever. So yeah, I don't know for our listeners out there what the answers are, but yeah, it starts with speaking up as best you
I
can.
also think one of the important things for women as well, especially like you guys who are higher ranked, is sometimes you might get paired with like a white belt male too, right? And now because they're men and because they're white belts, they go hard.
Yeah.
And I think also in those situations, it's important for you guys to then sit there and help control those matches, and not necessarily by going hard, but again, going, hang on, just 1 second, mate, let's dial this back a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's education right across the board.
Yeah.
It's not just, hey, this is a female white belt, I need to help her. It's also educating them, like the men, on how to roll technically with women and all those sorts of things, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's hard. Sometimes the white belt guys, like, sorry to those out there, don't have a lot of technique to be able to use. So they've had to use their strength so far, and that's all they have. So when someone asks them not to use it, they're like, then now what? You know, like it makes it hard. But I find as well, even their breathing, you know, they tend to almost hyperventilate, like just calm, chill. It's all good. I'm not here to kill you. You know, we're just having an easy roll. So yeah, it's a hard one to communicate, but it does, like you said, it does start with communication for sure. Do you have any more questions, Brentos? I pretty much
I was waiting for Alan to say something really magical just then. Um, yeah, you document a lot of your jiu-jitsu journey. You know more or less how many classes you've done, you know how many private you've done, all of those sorts of things. So tell us about your OCD.
I was getting I got my blue belt, and then Kieran texts me and goes, "No, you stop at black belt, obviously." So now it's like an ongoing thing. I just find it keeps. I don't even know why I do it anymore, to be honest. It helps me because I try to write notes after every class. So it's a good way for me to keep track of note, even if it's just one little. Sometimes it's a page of notes of like, oh, this technique and this. Sometimes it's a mindset thing. Sometimes it's just one little random. Oh, this frame moves to here, and yeah, it just does. I just find that note taking, and of course, I keep class numbers with the notes. But I just find that like little, just to, if you can remember something from class, like an hour, 2 hours later, will help so much. Just that little like document, you can write it in your phone or something, just that just helps you recall it, I think. One of the, Murray said he used to have students that used to draw. They would draw the position the next day to see how much they could remember and go from there. And just like that little like recall in your brain means it. Because how many times after class do we just go home? And it's like you might be like, oh, my roll with Brent today, actually my foot got stuck here. That's something I need to work on. Or even if it's just that, oh, I need to ask about this, or I do it. I'm very big on asking questions. So yes.
So you really do live and breathe jiu-jitsu by the sound of it. Tell us, what do you do when you're not doing jiu-jitsu? Tell us about some of your outside jiu-jitsu interests or hobbies. Do you have any, and what are they?
Are there things outside of jiu-jitsu? I do. What? No, I am very big on the AFL, and I usually try and go with my friends. We usually try and go round one every year, but missed last year because of pans, and the year before because I was sick. So this year I'm like, we are going. So I try and catch up with my friends that are not jiu-jitsu friends, and like go to brunch, or like I'm big on going out for like coffee dates and things like that, and I sometimes go out on hikes with some friends on weekend, like a bit more active recovery. I love being outside in the space, and not a fan of the beach. But hikes through mountains, awesome. Books behind me. I read a fair bit when I can. Yeah, just sort of tick on some like different hobbies that are not jiu-jitsu. Love sleeping, but I feel like that's also related to jiu-jitsu.
The other thing,
Awesome.
Alan, as well, that I'd love for you to talk about is it seems like you are getting really, really confident in traveling as well. I don't know if you've always had that, but you are very confident in jumping on a plane by yourself and going to whether it's another state in Australia or another country in the world and competing by yourself. So, can you tell us a little bit about your mindset doing that?
Yeah, I used to. My first interstate comp was South Australia 2022. I flew in and out the same day by myself, had to work it out. I used to be terrified of flying. I get like a nosebleed almost every time, stress myself out. Now it just feels like part of the process. Um, I use interstate comps, especially when I go over by myself. They help me work on things in general, and also I get to train with people and compete with people I don't get to see. So it's like cool to have that experience of like new games, new things, and that sort of thing. Um, and then I think my mindset now is I just it's a and you can still compete in Melbourne, of course, but I find I I just enjoy the process now. Like there's not a mindset. I don't like the 16 hours to LA, but once I'm there, it's good. Um, but it's always, we're very lucky we have a team behind us that is in constant communication. Like when I went to Queensland on the weekend, just gone, Link was messaging me all day because I still wanted some help and support, and he was still in communication with me. Same when I go overseas. When I went to Cairns last year, Ivan up at 3 a.m. messaging me to make sure I'm like all good, have the things I need, that sort of thing. So it's good that I don't ever feel alone. And I feel every time I step on the mats or travel, I'm traveling with the team. Like it's not no one medal is mine, no one comp is mine. It's like the teams, I reckon. So I think having like a healthy support around you makes it a lot easier. And my mindset's more about doing them proud and learning new things.
Yeah, it's something for me that I do admire with you, mate. Like you do go out, you do compete by yourself. And as you say, the team around you, the team behind you, having that support, the knowledge of the people around you as
Mm-hmm.
well, and the ability to kind of help fix things on the fly if you ever need to do that. I
Yeah.
think all of those things definitely help as an individual and then as a team member too, because you do the same for your teammates,
100%.
which is so beneficial.
Yeah, I hope that I can, and I will continue to try to just be there for all my teammates, whatever they need on comp days too. Especially love competing in Melbourne when it's like the full team out in force. It's like, what do you need? I notice when we compete overseas, it's like, what do you need today? What do you need? Do you need anything? Like that constant check-in and thing is just, yeah, I think it helps everyone.
Yeah. Awesome. Look, thank you so much, Ellen, for giving up your time. We are very happy to have you as a team member, and I am really happy that we did this podcast and hope everybody got as much out of it as Brentos and I did. We just have a little bit of a pop quiz that we do now, just a couple of questions.
Okay.
You can answer as long or as short as you like.
Okay.
All right. Some of these I might know, some of them I might not. We'll see how we go. iPhone or Samsung?
iPhone.
Strength or flexibility?
I want to say flexibility, but it's definitely strength. But working on the flexibility.
Pasta or rice?
Pasta.
Steak or chicken?
Steak.
Gi or no gi?
Gi.
Even though you're the no gi champ.
Yeah.
You're currently a purple belt. What's the favorite belt that you've been at?
Purple, I think, for sure. Yeah, it's just fun. And it's like you just try things, some more things. It's just fun.
Yeah. Who's a female grappler who inspires you?
Adele. She just is awesome, and I love that she's calling out things that need to be called out and just going out there, doing the things, doing the jiu-jitsu. Just, yeah, awesome. Her work ethic's insane.
Yeah, I agree. She's an incredible person for sure. All right, mate, we've got two more. Do you wear Crocs?
No. No.
Drive a manual car?
Auto, but I've always had manuals until this one.
Yeah, you're a
You
legend,
can
mate.
drive
You
a
can
manual.
release it, Candice.
Yeah.
No,
For sure. For sure.
That's it.
Yeah. Thank you once again for giving up your time. And as I said, I've enjoyed this. I hope our listeners have as well. We'll have this out for you in a couple of weeks. I think it'll be out about the time you'll be heading over for PANS. So good luck. All the best of luck for that and everything else through the year. And Brentos, do you want to do the wrap up?
Yeah, thanks, Alan. As I say, mate, you are a teammate. You are a friend. You're somebody that I've travelled across the world now to compete in jiu-jitsu tournaments with. And I truly do appreciate the help that you give me and the support, mate. So it's awesome that you've been able to jump on here. So thank you for that. To everybody else out there, please remember to like, rate, and share the podcast. I also just really quickly want to say thanks to those who have kind of found the podcast recently. So we've actually had a couple of messages. I've spoken to people at training today, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know you guys had a podcast." So for those of you who don't know, we've
been around for
podcasts.
6 years, guys. Where have you been?
Yeah.
Come on.
Like, tell your friends when you are flying over to PANS to compete, like all of a sudden have your AirPods slip out and just play it at full volume on the plane. Like, tell your friends about it. Like, rate, share. That's it. We'll leave it there. Thank you, Alan, for coming on. We will see everybody next week with another episode of Roll or Die podcast. Peace.
Thanks so much for having me.